What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to have a little talk or debate about just putting aftermarket parts on your firearm, specifically your carry firearm, make them less reliable. Now, most people right off the bat would say yes, it automatically will make your firearm less reliable. But is that true? And we're going to get down to it. So up top right here, just to let you know what we're working with, this is a Glock 26. This is all stock, except for the base plate, sights, and obviously this base plate. Obviously, those three things will not cause any reliability issues. And I'll tell you where real reliability issues started happening and being talked about was Polymer 80s. Prior to that, Glocks and stuff, even if you put aftermarket supplies or aftermarket parts in there, they still ran. Just like this right here. Yes, this is a different slide than what I used to run. This slide only has about 1,500 rounds through it, but it's been reliable. I have had an Apex trigger with a Ghost Avenger connector in there for the Apex trigger's been in there for about 4,000 rounds, whereas that connector's been in there since 1,000 rounds. So it's been through about 10,000 rounds with no issues. And what I have here is a barrel that we're going to be testing tomorrow at the range. I'll say it like this. The stuff that usually goes bad in Glocks is the internals. Now, when I was making a build, I wanted to see how cheap I could get. I made sure it would not be a firearm that I'm carrying, but I'm like, I want to see how cheap I can build a Glock. So I made a really cheap Glock, not this one right here, but it actually happened to this firearm too. I said I'm not going to be carrying either of these firearms, and I've had two strikers break, and both of them were aftermarket brands. I've also had an aftermarket brand part kit that is a bigger name, that is a well-known name in the firearm industries and community. And that striker kept giving me light primer strikes, and it was not the ammo. So where it comes down to it with Glocks, stay with OEM internals, except for the connector. If you're getting a connector for your trigger to make a lighter or a shorter reset, stuff like that, then as long as you go with Apex or Ghost, you're never going to have a single issue. It's about the brand and the reliability behind that brand and the quality of that brand. A lot of times people have ejection issues with Glocks, even if they're Glock OEM parts. So what do people do? They go to the Apex malfunction resistant extractor, the extractor. They go to the Apex extractor and then they don't have any issues. So there are times where swapping out an aftermarket part for an OEM part actually helps the reliability of your firearm. And that's just in some scenarios. The things that usually don't cause issues are stuff like barrels, base plates on magazines, although it does depend on, does it come with an extra spring? If so, use it. Always follow those instructions. The other thing that doesn't do anything, like I said, are the sights and the back plate. Those never caused any reliability issues, obviously. Where it comes down to, like I said, is aftermarket internals. Also companies that you just haven't heard of or that have spotty quality. If you're going to be carrying a firearm, a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't build it. My most reliable firearm I've actually built myself from Glock frame up. And this thing has just been awesome. It's been a beast, and we're going to test it with this new barrel tomorrow, like I said. Is there a place for stock Glocks and stuff like that? Yes, you don't have to change anything. They are a great firearm. They're reliable as it is. But I would say that as long as you stick to good brands, it is not going to affect the reliability of your firearm. I mean, there's a lot of times where people have an issue with a firearm, and they swap it out for aftermarket, and that fixes the problem. Stuff like slides tend to be pretty good at running. I've never heard of someone changing to another slide from a different company and that slide just malfunctions and has issues. It's going to be pretty similar to an OEM slide on the inside, therefore it's going to run pretty much the same. Remember, all these things were designed to run for these. These are people who are engineering them and creating them. Just don't go after no-name brands. Don't believe that. Also, don't believe when they say, oh, made in America, it's a good internal. Don't trust it. Glock internals, except for the Ghost or Apex connector. Triggers, as long as they're a big brand trigger and expensive, they tend to run very smooth. I've never had any issues with Apex triggers, Wheaton Arms triggers, or the Johnny Glocks triggers. Never a single issue. And I've ran thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds through all of these. This right here is a cheap slide, about $110 slide from Hooper Gunworks, and this thing's ran reliably for 6,000 rounds. A TTS custom barrel, very accurate. That was $100, and that thing runs perfectly fine. Not a single issue with it. So Yes, you can swap out parts. People will say don't do it if it's your carry firearm. I say it's all about the testing you put in it and all about the quality of parts you buy. Thanks for watching.